Spec getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Good afternoon. Welcome into Slow Motion Broadcasting and Championship Sunday here with the Weekend Warriors. This is the final round of Season 2 2026 with the Spec Racer Fords, and we are here tonight at Monza on the junior circuit. Very, very high speed, very, very quick lap times, and going to be a very chaotic race day. And what would you expect with this group here? This is going to be quite a crazy race. I am Charles Boshell alongside Josh Wilkie with commentary, and Guido Marzucchi running our production booth today. And Josh, welcome into the broadcast. This is the final round. Championship Sunday. I think we've pretty much got all the champions named, or just waiting on the final drop of the checkered flag here today, and we're in for quite a treat. This is going to be a very, very exciting race.
Yeah, absolutely, Charles. Thank you for having me in here today. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one for sure. Not a track that we would usually be accustomed to. It's a very difficult, very small, almost like an oval. There's only a couple little wiggles in there for you to have to deal with, and then you have a straightaway, and before you know it, you're going to be on another straightaway getting drafted again. So it's going to be a pretty interesting race, I think, today of decision making and exactly when you're going to make those moves, how you're going to stay with the pack that you're in. And I think really the only way to kind of mess up today is just getting a little too defensive or perhaps a little too aggressive out there. You're going to need to be a little bit copacetic, a little bit of ebb and flow back and forth between your competitors and you and the track. The track, not so hard today. Your competitors, well, that's up in the air.
Absolutely, you're exactly right. As we're watching Rich Meesters here, we got to thank our sponsor for today's race, Bobby West, West Tech Racing, sponsoring today's final round here at Monza. Bobby, thank you very much. Not on the grid today, so we'll pick out a driver here in just a few minutes to go through our lap guide with Guido. But first, we're going to go through our championship points before we get things too far in, as we'll get those pulled up. And here are your S1 standings. Nate Schramm is going to be our champion here in Spec 1 with 892 points. Jason Green is going to finish second. Dirk Braun may finish third, but it's not quite out. That's a little open for debate there. Josh Justice only about 21 points behind, but Joshua's not here, so I think that makes that a done deal as well. So Dirk is going to get P3. So all podium finishers here in Spec 1 are just waiting for this final 40-minute race to be done, and that is how we're going to line up for the podium in the championship. So let's move over to Spec 2, as we have Hugh Simpkins leading by 50 points. I think that makes that out of reach. This is including the drop rounds, I believe. So Phil Berry is going to finish second. Paul Jackson is maybe going to finish third. Let's see, is Paul Jackson here? I'm looking for his number. I do not see him. So it may be elevated by Dennis Furia here to pick up third, depending on how he finishes. And then, of course, our buddy close. Josh is going to finish in, looks like fifth place or thereabouts, as he is up in the booth and not competing today, and we'll blame Ron for that. As we move over to our Masters class, Antonio Reese, far and away your championship winner today. Tom Gradwell in second, Rich Meesters in third, Chris Thorpe in fourth. That one's a little close as well. Only 10 points separating Rich Meesters and Chris Thorpe in third place there. And that looks like we've got at least top two from each class. Looks like those were probably set in stone before we even take a lap here. And we'll see about the rest as we go along here, as we're still in qualifying. And you see the lap times there. 25 drivers have set a time. We do have Patrick Hawkey. Looks like he was in the server, may not be there now. But 25 drivers have set laps. 23 of those are within 1 second of pole. That just goes to show what kind of race this is going to be. Everybody's going to be in the draft all the time until something happens and these guys ends up making a mistake. Another thing we'll have to mention here as well is with this short layout, pit exit is going to be a little tricky, as it comes right out in the racing line here at Monza, almost in the first corner itself. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well when we get to our pit stop cycle. So let's, Guido, let's pick us a driver here to do our lap, and then we will absolutely let you do the Italian pace lap here, or the Italian lap guide, as we roll around the final straightaway. Okay, sounds good. So we'll wait for Nate to make his way around. Should not take too long, as we're looking at big one, big crash there in front. It looks like Todeschini, Andrew Love involved in that here. But Andrew Gorson, Marcel Gorson, top two on the grid there. Currently with Kane Lasky, Rich Meesters, and Nate Schramm running around to get your top five. As we work our way through Parabolica, we'll let Guido take over, and here's your lap guide in Italian. It's going to be a short one. Okay. We'll pull it back. And Josh, so what are we looking at for today's race? Obviously, no championship battles here, but everybody wants to have a good ending to their season and maintain their momentum, or at least pick up some momentum for the following season.
Yeah, I think again, Charles, because we have a lot of the actual championship points and so on rounded up, that it actually does open it up a little bit for a driver. So you're out there maybe with a little bit less pressure than usual. It's the final round of the season. It's a bit of a quirky track. So depending on how you take it, you can go out there and just have some fun. Every once in a while, that will bring you a better result than usual. But just because you're not quite so tense, you're not thinking about a result, and it's kind of a weird track. Everybody's out there sort of having a bit of fun, and you might be able to plug one in. There's another way to look at it too, where you can kind of go out there and focus on that and realize that maybe some of the people are out there not really caring too much about today as much, and you're able to kind of get a win out of it. Also, that can go the other way, and you can end up in a big pileup in T1 because nobody cares. But I think today, honestly, what's going to happen is it's going to be a little bit more lighthearted than it usually is. This is usually the way these final rounds go, unless there's a bunch of championship stuff to be won. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing people kind of playing ball a little bit today, and hopefully we can have lots of passing and no big incidents.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And I think we've got Guido ready now here. So as we work our way around the final corner, we will pass it back off to Guido for our pace lap in Italian. And Guido, take it away.
Benvenuti a Monza nel Tempio della Velocità in questa versione ridotta dell'Autodromo internazionale, la versione junior solitamente usata per le gare junior, le gare dove vengono sviluppati i nuovi piloti. Il rettifilo iniziale in versione più corta si va subito a piegare verso destra prima della prima variante, una doppia chicane destra, sinistra e poi ancora destra, 3 curve in sequenza da far bene per poi ritrovarsi immediatamente sul rettifilo opposto, il lungo rettilineo alla fine del quale c'è l'iconica curva parabolica recentemente rinominata curva Alboreto, da fare molto velocemente senza rischiare di andare larghi. È molto facile ritrovarsi fuori pista in questa curva e Kimi Antonelli ne sa qualcosa. Nel suo primo test con Mercedes andò a schiantarsi sulle barriere a sinistra. Ci ritroviamo quindi subito dopo un giro cortissimo, appena 55 secondi nel rettifilo, con Nathaniel Schrem che è andato a concludere il suo giro di qualifica qua a Monza.
Thank you very much,
Awesome.
Guido. And I love hearing that. That's just, it's we should do that. We should just find a driver every time we go to a different country and just have them come in and do the lap guide for us in that
Hey,
language.
that's an idea.
So, but thank you very much, Guido. That was awesome. Obviously, the short one here, the junior circuit, as Guido was saying there. And a very, very manic lap here at this track as we're almost done with qualifying. We had a couple more laps in. These drivers will be coming down for their final lap here as we're already within about 40 seconds of the qualifying finishing. So this will be the final lap. They'll be taking the checker the next time by as we're on board here with Diego Todeschini. And he is currently sitting in 10th place. But you just see, looking up and down the qualifying tower here, it's not really there's no real advantage for our Spec 1s today, as we've got Spec 1 Masters and Spec 2, our top 3 here in qualifying as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Very mixed up field for sure today. Again, getting some Masters drivers plugging their good laps in there. Rich Meisters, Antonio Reese, both with some great laps today. And again, like you said, we are really close to each other as well. So all the way back to about 5th place. We are, or even 6th place, actually. We are basically on top of each other going across the line there. So that's going to be a pretty interesting one. And then just behind that, you basically have cars on top of cars all the way down to about 13th, and then again all the way down to about 15th or 16th, and then again and again. So it's going to be a giant mass of cars here today. And, like I was saying in the run-up a little bit there, this is going to be a race of decisions for sure. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to kind of go out there and just plug laps away, hopefully allow people to kind of pass and pass back and so on without putting up too much of a fight. Because if you do, you're only going to find yourself driving backwards as we see a good rear ender there, maybe getting caught out on the brakes. Of course, these aren't any real machinery here, so as long as you don't have your thumbs locked in your wheel, that probably isn't going to be an issue. And hopefully the guy he ran into there didn't have a DD cranked up to 32 Newton meters and just snapped his wrist there. But I think we're all pretty used to stuff like that. It looks like qualifying is over now, though, and those margins are tight, Charles. So this is going to be a pretty nose to tail, line astern sort of race, I think.
Yeah, absolutely is. And we'll wait for the qualifying results to come up and get our race grid coming. But just, I got some upcoming news here. We'll mention this at the end of the broadcast. Week 13, the runoffs are next week, obviously, as this is the end of the regular season. And pretty interesting little format that Stevie Ray has cooked up for the Week 13 this season, and it's just going to be. You'll just wait to hear it. It's going to be. This is one of his newest creations, and I'm looking forward to it as we got our race grid ready to go, and we've got Alexander Gorson on pole, 55.836. Antonio Reese outside of row 1. Marcel Gorson, Kane Lasky on row 2. Rich Meesters in 5th. Dirk Braun in 6th. Hughes Simpkins in 7th. Nate Schramm in 8th. Jason Green in 9th. Diego Todeschini in 10th. So Al Shutwee in 11th. Chris Murakami in 12th. And Josh, I'll let you go to the next page.
Yeah, in 13th place, we have Scott Russell. And then after that, the Masters driver of Jorg Mani, Adam Bradshaw Jr. will be in 15th. Kuzma Lesoni, I'm going to try that one. I don't know if I got that one right. From Antarctica is in 16th place. In 17th, we have Adam Bradshaw. In 18th, Adam Love. 19th, Phil Berry. Tom Gradwell in the 909 Racing Machine will be in 20th. Jeff Jacobson in the SRT Sports outfit. Brad Cathcart will be in 22. 23rd is Chris Thorpe, and 24th is Dennis Furia.
Yep, and rounding out our grid is Marcus Burkett in 25th, and Patrick Hockey did not set a time. I do not think he's in. So 25 cars, and of our 25 cars, 24 of those were then in 1 second. Marcus Burkett just missed it with 1.03 seconds off of pole. Oof. So that's going to give you, 1.099 seconds off of pole. So 1/10 out. And this is going to be a fantastic race here as we get ready to roll. Looks like the pace car is ready to lead them around for a very, very short pace lap. So not a lot of time here. And so, Josh, you're obviously very familiar with these cars, being one of the competitors that gets out there and runs. So you tell me what your thoughts are here as we're taking off and we're getting ready to do this very, very quick lap, and then we're going to be racing for very hard for 40 minutes.
Yeah, so a lot of the time I do like to go into these races with a pretty similar mindset, and it's usually try to grab things as opportunistic as I can in the beginning. So not trying to push too hard, but also not being, a total pushover either. And you can usually grab a couple spots that way. Also, it's just really about trying to be predictable at this point in the race. If you're all over the place in the first couple corners or diving or what have you, it's going to cause a big cascade usually, and you don't want to get caught up in that unless, of course, it's behind you. And even then, it's, you look in your rear view and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of a bummer. You can see them now warming up their tires as well. This is something that's fairly important in these cars. If you totally just go back and forth as hard as you can for the entire lap, Charles, you will get a benefit from that. If you kind of just weave around like we've seen some of them doing and then start driving again, it sort of just feels good. and it really does. It's something I do anyways. Even if it's not warming the tires up, it does just feel like maybe I'm getting a little more grip. You're warming up, and that can help a little bit. But you are trying to actually get some heat in the tires. But if I was driving right now, basically what I'm trying to think is just be predictable. Try not to get anything in the beginning. Find a pack of cars that I can get with, and hopefully drive and kind of go back and forth with it. We're just about to get our start here. Let's see if he jumps early.
Yeah, let's see. We're going to take our way down as the pace car is off, headed back into pit lane. And we're waiting on our leader. It looks like he is off to the races. Gorson out to the front of the field, and he's brought his brother with him, Marcel, just behind there, trying to look to the inside here of Antonio Reese as we make our way down into turn 1 for the first time. You already see a check up there as Kane Lasky running a little bit wide, trying to avoid slowing Antonio Reese. They work their way through turn 1. Looks like everybody is getting through as we work our way through the junior circuit for the first time, and then back around. Is out of the corner as I think this was, as we did see a spin there. Several cars involved. Andrew Love, the 131 car there of Kuzma Lesnoy, and there is Todeschini as well. And those cars are in the back as we have already had our first major catastrophe in the back of the field.
Yeah, unfortunate. They're not sure right off the rip if that was had a little help there or if that was just all on his own. It kind of did look all on his own perhaps there, and then unfortunately just collected some more drivers. Looked like Andrew Love actually got caught up in that as well, if I didn't peep that correctly, as we're getting Adam Bradshaw actually pushing already on lap 1, trying to make something happen there with the driver in front of him. Kane Lasky looking up the inside into T1 after outside on the first lap. He's going to make that one work. Lots of good driving here so far. A little bit of side-by-side, not too much at the back of the pack, of course. This is where the knife fight happens, in the back of the pack here. You can see cars a little bit more fanned out back there, not quite as orderly. And that's kind of the way it works back there for sure. You tend to get in a little bit more of a knife fight as we're looking in the far back. If you peep way back there, seeing another car missing a lid as well. And that's never going to help you out there in an SRF unless you can be right up against somebody's bumper. Antonio Reese on the inside of Kane Lasky now is going to make that one work as well. So we're starting to break into packs here already, Charles. And like I said, if you look at the back here, there's a lot more side-by-side racing going on as you get near to the back of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to get a replay here up in just a minute. Black flag for Chris Murakami there, as he is. I'm not going to guess. I'm guessing that's not an incident or a incident limit already on the third lap of the race. So I'm going to guess that maybe slow down. He could not get served in time. Would be my initial thoughts here as we get still this battle side to side there, coming through the junior cut through there with the sixth. I'm sorry, as we're going to get the replay now. You see Jorg Monty getting a little piece of that, but it looks like it was Todeschini and maybe Jorg Monty here as we try to look through the trees, and it's Todeschini just getting loose there. It might have had some help, could not really tell from that angle, but definitely just kind of lost the rear of the car and spun around, and then more contact there as he moves to the middle, and there was Marcus Burkett just kind of minding his own business. So a tough day for the Italian driver here at Monza to get this race underway, and he has been through the pits. He's got his fast repair. He's back out on the track, so he's just hoping that maybe another couple cars fall off and he can pick up, and they can kind of work together to maybe move forward here. As we're looking 4 wide already coming down into turn 1, coming across the start finish line. There's Monty and a little bit of contact there as well, and that's looks like the 229 car. Maybe Jeff Jacobson back there, and there's Jorg around and into the barrier there as he was working through the cut through here in the junior area, and you see the damage on Jorg's car, so he's going to be having to deal with that until he can come into the pits, and that's going to be probably around the 10-minute mark, which is going to be lap 11 or 12, because we're looking at multiple over 40 laps here for today's race.
Yeah, that's another thing actually we sort of failed to mention, isn't it, Charles, that there is going to be a lot of laps around here today, and that's a lot more than usual. And I know personally when, it might seem like an easy lap, but by the time you get into the 30 or 40-minute mark, or close to the 40-minute mark, that was a bit of an interesting bump there from Antonio Reese. Not usually going to do a bump draft that late into the corner. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. It does look like he kind of backed out of it like, oops, sorry about that on that one. But that's not something you usually want to see. I was just going to mention as well there, Dennis Furia up 9 positions here from the beginning into 15. So he's already making a charge up to the front. Must have had a bad qualifying, or perhaps just didn't get the lap he wanted and maybe didn't get a draft, ended up at the back. Of course, today's draft was very important in qualifying with those really super tight margins. Alexander Grosjean still leading at the front, pretty much line astern here at the front, as you're seeing. I saw a little bit of that replay there just on I'm actually not getting replays on, unfortunately, but I did see it actually on the live broadcast, and it looked like Giacchini didn't actually really have a tap or anything there. And the other incident with Tom Gradwell just barely missing out on Jorg Monty there on the tail. So some pretty awesome driving there. I believe that's Sul Al-Shitwi going up the inside, going to get a 2-for-1 on that one.
Yeah, there's Al-Shitwi moving to the inside there. It's going to move up into 5th place, just in front of Nate Schramm. As you see this pack still about 10 cars deep, all the way back to Jason Green, and actually 9 cars deep, we'll call it that, is there's a bit of a gap there to the second pack, led by Adam Bradshaw Jr., who's having another good run, running in 10th place today. And so the top 9 separated by essentially about 1 second between them. As then we go back to our second group here, led by Bradshaw Jr. with his dad, Adam Bradshaw, just behind him. Scott Russell and Phil Berry along board. And then we go back to our third pack with Brad Cathcart, Dennis Furia, Jeff Jacobson. Further back, Chris Thorpe, Gradwell, Lesnoy, Marcus Burkett, And then the cars that were involved in that earlier collision, Yorgmani, Todeschini, Meesters, Love, Murakami, falling to the back of the field here as we're already on lap 7 here. Antonio Reese moves up to the front with a move down on turn 1. You're going to see that multiple times a day, is getting that draft down the front straight and making that strong move down. As we're going to get another replay here. Here's Andrew Love as he's working his way down the front straight, heading down into the first turn, and kind of giving the car a little weave here as he's trying to get a little bit of heat in those, and just locks up completely, and has to cut it pretty deep there to kind of miss the pit wall. And maybe he has set back to the pits. I think he may be done for the day.
Yeah, it looks like he might be done for the day there. As actually this group of oh no, actually he is out there, isn't he? As this group actually though of the lead cars are going to be catching a lap driver here pretty soon. This is a big pack of cars to get around the lap driver. Not going to be easy to let that one go, although there is some very good spots on this track to just pull to the side on the straight and let this entire pack by. It's not always as easy as it sounds. You know, the lap driver, it might sound easy as you're watching, you know, as a viewer of our show today. It might seem easy for a lap driver to get out of the way, but it's actually a lot harder than you think it is when somebody's bearing down on you and you're trying to find the right moment to do it. It's actually pretty easy to get caught up, as we're getting a little bit of side-by-side there up front still. And I think that's just down to really letting some pressure off. You have to kind of let the cars ebb and flow a bit, let people use those runs so you can keep the momentum. Jeff Jacobs here, about to have an incident all on his own. Almost gathered it up there, unfortunately. Going to hit the wall, but no damage by the looks of it, so he got away with that one. Going to lose a couple positions. Should be able to make those back fairly tidily here in the next little bit, but that was a bit of a mistake all on his own there.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, it looks like we're not over yet either, so he's going to have a second incident here, so we're going to keep watching. It looks like he's going to go a little bit wide. He is still on his own here, so doesn't look like we're going to get any incidents with him. We're going to stick on him. This might be into T1 here. He looks like he's going to get a pretty good run, and we're actually going to jump away from that back to our live pictures now with Kane Lasky is going to be making a move. Looks like Antonio Reese pulled off to the side of the road for some reason. We'll have to catch up with that here. Let's have a look at what happened. So Antonio Reese currently leading the race in our shot here. Looks like he's going to maybe think about, not exactly sure. I think that might be down to a hardware failure.
Oh no.
VR turned off, we're getting from our producer here. So unfortunately, he's getting a black screen in front of him there. And I think we've all experienced that at one point or another. We can chalk that up basically to mechanical failure. Let's say if it was in real life, something just broke on the car. And he's going to have to pull over from the lead of the race, which is just horrible. Adam Bradshaw Jr. getting an awesome run up the inside here. Scott Russell on the outside. And he's going to misjudge that one, unfortunately, and miss out on that opportunity into the runoff road here. And it looks like maybe he called it from there, didn't he?
Yeah, it kind of looks that way. It looks like, I don't know, kind of see if he's back on the track, and it looks like he is still moving, so he is still out there, but obviously lost a lot of time there, just carrying that a bit too deep down with a lockup. As we are on board here, you see the 131 of Kuzma Lesnoy there, still with the modified look on the front of that car as he gets passed by Marcus Burkett. And you know, at least with these you know, when you get that kind of look at these on a track like this, you just kind of keep your nose tucked in, and you can generally kind of hang with the pack. You may drop a couple positions as you go. You may fall to the back of your group, but you can generally just kind of hang in the draft as long as you keep the nose covered. You don't lose just a whole lot here as we go back to the front with Marcel Gorson leading this race in the 201 car. So I'll show it in second. Alexander Gorson running in third. Kane Lasky fourth. Nate Schramm fifth. As this is still our top group up here, still now down to 8 cars. Obviously with Antonio Reese kind of falling out from the VR issue. So we were down to 8 up front, and then we've got that 4-second gap back to Scott Russell here, as it looks like we're going to get a run here by Al Shutwee. Wants to take the lead, going to look to the inside here, and the whole train's going with him, so they're going to send Marcel to the back of this group pretty quickly here as he just kind of gets shuffled back. And are we going to go 3 wide? We are going to kind of go 3 wide as Kane Lasky looks to the inside here, really late on the brakes and able to jump into the front here with side-by-side with Al Shutwee. They get that settled pretty quickly as still have a couple of cars side-by-side as we work our way through the junior circuit cut through to the back stretch, and looks like everybody's back in line again with Kane Lasky in the lead.
Yeah, shuffling around a little bit here at the front of the field, and that's what's going to happen. You know, if you notice there, that tail has gotten a bit longer on that front pack, and that changes your mindset if you're up there driving. Now, what you want to do is get away from the rest of that pack. You don't want that pack to be as big as it actually is. Scott Russell looking up the inside of the 205 here. Going to get that one done fairly handily. Phil Berry looking on there as well, looking for some points today. Phil Berry, I would imagine I think he's pretty much got second place sewed up, but it's going to help him a lot here to solid that up if he can get a good position today. You can see this pack now of cars has changed quite a bit, even not just in size, but also in who is actually in that pack. Is Sal Shitwe going to take an early pit here at the 11-minute mark? I think that might be a little early around here. Perhaps not, though. This is a bit of a strange track, lots of drafting, so I haven't had, usually I'd be out practicing couple hours a week, on these, and I'd know kind of maybe a bit of my fuel strategy, although we know how horrible I am at those. That usually pitting at the 11-minute mark will mean you don't have enough fuel for the end of the race, but that could be a little bit different today because of the ability to just let off the gas here so much into T1 and into the final corner down that straightaway, as well as all the draft you can pull around here too. So perhaps pulling a bit of a strategy there, or something we don't know about. But back to my point here, Jason Green now brought up the rear of this pack, and we know Jason Green's one of the fastest SRS drivers out there, so he can definitely be at the front of this pack, and that means that we're going to get a lot of shuffling around here, if you ask me. He will make that dive at some point, or not a dive necessarily if it's Jason Green involved. He's going to make sure that's a fairly calculated move. But he will make it at some point for sure, as we have a pretty good mix as well here of drivers from S2 and S1. So that's something we want to remember as a viewer. If you look up on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see those color-coded stripes there. That's an S1 for red, S2 for green, and the yellow is going to be our Masters class. And of course, you're out there all racing together, and you don't have to do anybody any favors either. So it makes a bit of a strange dynamic out there when you have somebody in front of you who isn't in class and you're fighting for a championship and you just need him to get out of the way, but he can't and he won't, and he doesn't have to. So it's one of those things that you deal with in the Weekend Warriors that makes it a little bit unique for sure. Now, as we have Kane Lasky still leading, Dirk Braun having a look around the outside of Kane Lasky here into T1. They're rapidly catching those back markers as well. And it's going to be a bit of an interesting perhaps where they catch them is really going to dictate how they get around them here. This is a big pack of cars to get around two lap drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. As we head down the back stretch here, and Dirk Braun is in the lead, followed by Marcel Gorson, Nate Schramm in third. Nate Schramm looking to move up a little bit, as Jason Green, as you said, just kind of hanging in the back, and I think he's maybe doing a little bit of fuel saving here. We did mention Al Shutwig coming to the pits. He's down in P18. And I think maybe the undercut might be a good strategy here. When we get to these really heavy draft tracks, the undercut usually works pretty well. There's a lot of room here to make some moves. So Shutwig should be able to work his way up through the field, and if he finds some good drafting to work with, he's going to set pretty representative lap times compared to the front of the field here. As we have Kane Lasky moving down to the inside of Dirk Braun, taking that position. That moves him back up into the lead, as we do have those two cars ahead. I believe that is Rich Meesters is one of those cars, and the other one is Lesnoy. So those are your two back markers. Lesnoy just came out of the pits, as well as Rich Meesters. Both of those cars have pitted. Now, Rich Meesters pitted on lap 4. I don't think he's going to be able to get to the end. That's going to be a stretch, and I believe we've seen also with these short laps that you can really kind of work your strategy a little differently for the pit stop, and you can generally pit a few minutes earlier and a few minutes later outside of that window, because you don't have as far to travel to get back to the pits. As we get a little bump draft there, a little shimmy there from Kane Lasky, trying to absorb that hit from Dirk Braun as they work their way down into turn 1 again through the junior cut through. As we're back to our second group here. This is Scott Russell, Phil Berry, and Adam Bradshaw Jr. still swapping positions, and now almost three wide coming in between Gradwell, Cathcart, Dennis Furia, Jeff Jacobson, in that group as well. Just off the back of that was Chris Thorpe, and I believe Marcus Burkett as well. So they're trying to work their way up, and the fight will help them make up some time. As those cars try and drive 2x2 through the corner, that's just going to slow them down as we're back up again to the front of the field here. And we just keep switching around here as we can jump from group to group, as we now have Furia looking to the inside of Jeff Jacobson. Not going to be able to get that move done, as Jacobson able to carry the momentum on the outside as he works around. It's still side by side, nose almost overlapping there with Chris Murakami taking the outside line, working with Jacobson there, going to give him a little bit of a push. You see the car just wiggle a little bit as that contact is made, and is that going to give him enough boost to get through? It is indeed. So Jacobson's going to hang on that until he loses the rear, and he's going to slide back behind Murakami. And that's going to drop him down to P14, and that's going to give Thorpe and Burkett a chance to maybe grab onto that draft. So it may have bridged that gap for them a little bit easier, so they don't have to work nearly as hard as we head back up to the front. And now we're going to look to see if these cars are going to get by Lesnoy coming down the front stretch here, as we see one car way on the outside. That is Rich Meesters, as they're working their way through there. So dealing with lap traffic here early in the race at 17-minute mark.
Yeah, pretty awesome up front here for sure. Seeing a little bit of argy-bargy there, a little bit farther back. Some drivers with a bit between their teeth, I can definitely identify there. It's something kind of the way I drive a little bit sometimes too. I can get a bit of a bit between my teeth and really start to fight for those positions. It's not necessarily something you want to do in this scenario, honestly. If you're side by side and it looks like you're going to have to fight for an apex, it's almost always better not to, because you're just going to lose time to the cars around you if you do that. And of course, we saw a little bit of that there, as well as a bit of a mess up. Dirk Braun, though, making a bit of a push here for the lead. Saw Kane Lasky blinking a couple times, and that's the last thing that you want to see as a driver out there, especially if you're up in those top positions. It's really hard, obviously, to predict where somebody's going to be when they disappear in front of you. It does look like he's actually stabilized out a little bit now, as we're getting some more side-by-side racing behind here. I believe that's Alexander Grosjean pulling out to the side here. He's going to make a fairly tidy pass around the 201 as Kane Lasky side by side with Nathaniel Schramm into T1. They're also going to file out here. We do have some movers in class here as well. So Philip Berry, 11 positions up in that S2 class, as well as Brad Cathcart doing very well today, 11 positions up in the Masters class and leading Masters right now. So Brad Cathcart in position to take this Masters win. I'm not sure I've seen that in at least quite a while. So hopefully Bradwell can hold on to that one. Him and Tom Gradwell fighting for that position. They are right beside each other at the moment. Just going to lean on our chat a little bit here as well. Tamara saying, yeah, it's fine, I'm saving fuel. And of course that is in regards to the number 16 of Jason Green with his yeah, it's fine logo on his dashboard there. And I think she's right. Her and Michelle here calling that it looks like what Jason Green's doing is saving fuel. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. We know that he could be up front right now, or at least close to it if he wanted to. And he's choosing not to. He's choosing to use that draft. He's choosing to stay where he is to save that fuel. So keep an eye on Jason Green in 7th place right now, because I have a feeling he'll be making some moves, as Gradwell now going to get around Brad Cathcart on the inside into T1 for the lead of the Masters class. Jeff Jacobson just behind them in S2. And it looks like up front here again now, we're still kind of moving around a little bit. Nathaniel Schramm now leading from Dirk Braun, leading from Kane Lasky, from Alexander Grosjean, from Marcel Grosjean. And then my closest rival when I was out there, Just Simpkins, also somebody you do not want to rule out as well. He's going to have his eyes on that prize. He can win races, I think, overall. He's got the speed to do it, and he's got placement to do it today. It's all about making good decisions from here, as Kane Lasky pulling out, taking a look up the inside into T1.
Yep, absolutely, and I will echo those sentiments. Just is a very, very quick driver, and has the ability, and he's up in the front group where he needs to be. As we've got these cars still working their way through. Lasky leading over Schramm as we work our way down the backstretch. Once again, we're going to switch over here. We see Furia making the move down in front of Jeff Jacobson. He actually gets that pass done this time, and you see Chris Murakami hanging on the back there, as they're just behind that battle between Cathcart and Gradwell. So they're going to be able to try and close that gap down. It's just a little outside the draft range here with about 1.4 between those two as we saw there. So it's going to be quite a bit of a stretch. They just have to work together, and the guys, the Masters drivers in the front of that, are going to have to be very aware that they do a little too much fighting through the corners, and that second group is going to be with them in a hurry, and they'll make it a 5-car fight here as we're just past the halfway point, 21 minutes in the race. We see Schramm hanging it out there as he cuts through the chicane here and
Big
back out onto the back stretch as we were watching just a little bit loose there as he was coming through that corner, and got it settled back down here, and we still got that nice big 7-car draft pack up here in the front of this pack. I think Rich Meester's actually is kind of hanging on the back there as well, just trying to keep the pace so he can circle back toward the front, pick up some time here as these cars, when they start coming in. Did see a couple other drivers coming to the pits as well. I believe Rich Meesters was one of those. Chris Thorpe as well. Marcus Burkett has come in for his pit stop. So they'll go to lap down until the rest of the field clears and gets their pit stop done, as we see now Jacobson back in front of Furious. So that's going to be a flip-flop there, as the gap is now down to about a second between those two groups. And so that pack is starting to tighten up, and so we're going to have 5 cars involved in that in short order here as we're back onto the back stretch again. This is just these quick laps. It just really, they're on the front stretch for about 20 seconds. They're in the cut through for about 10. They're on the back stretch for about 20 seconds, and then about 5 seconds through the parabolica, and then we're doing it all over again.
Yeah, a bit of Groundhog Day out there for sure into T1 over and over again. Passing the same car that you were behind before, and now you're in front of him, and now you're behind him, and now you're in front of him again. And it looks like that's kind of how you want to do things around here. Just the chat again being rather humorous here with the blinking, and maybe you just blink at the same time, or just when Kane Lasky, just close your eyes for a second when he blinks, and then it's the same. Then you're matching him, and it doesn't matter. At least that's what our chat's telling us to do here. I'm not really sure I would do that out in the car, but it looks like he has actually stabilized now out, so we're going to get a bit more of a straightforward race here between Schramm, Dirk, all of these drivers here in that top crew, as we're now seeing Scott Russell go up the inside of Philip Berry again, having our Masters drivers here as well. Tom Gradwell. And we get Jeff Jacobson in the background flying down the exit road, and that is going to be, we'll have to have a look right there. But like I said a few laps ago, the two drivers driving with a bit between their teeth there, not willing to give each other a moment, and he's going to go out onto the oval, which is definitely a boss move. I really like that, actually. Let's see if he does the whole oval. He's going to go have some fun with it. So we're going to get a bump draft here. Not exactly. That was a little bit odd. So it looks like he went for the bump draft. Maybe Jeff not thinking that was a little bit late and needing to get on the brakes there. And unfortunately, just a poorly timed bump draft, I think, at the end of the day. Maybe a little bit late. And Jeff Jacob just going to take himself for a Sunday drive now around the oval. Why not? Yeah,
classic. There he is. As he is now with the meatball flag, and he's going to have to come in and serve as we're going to make his way around. And is he going to find his way back onto the other part of the track is the next question. If he's going to find a hole to work himself through here as he's on the banking, working his way around all by himself. The world's longest year lap here as we're working our way around, losing a bit of time. And so, I mean, what else you're going to do when you're over that, right?
Yeah, why not? I mean, that was a pretty strange little incident there. I think maybe that bump draft coming a little bit late, at least for Jeff's liking there. And unfortunately, they're going to get their wires crossed, and he's going to end up on the oval. And that might just be a clip for later on in the week there for sure. Or maybe perhaps we can make some kind of a saying off of that one. But in any case, that's not something you're going to see every day. Nathaniel Schramm now looking up the inside a little bit at Kane Lasky. A few laps ago, Nathaniel Schramm had a big moment in T1 there, almost lost the car out in front of everybody, was able to gather it back up. Definitely some gunfighter hands inside that car. We were watching him during qualifying as well, have a moment or two. He's going to have a look up the inside now. Everybody else seems fairly happy to be where they are at the moment. Not a whole lot of froggy driving in our final 15 minutes or so here of this race. Still looking for some pit stops as well, aren't we, Charles? We're going to get a big rush of pit stops here soon. And as I know full well, pit stops can ruin your entire race very easily. It's not something you think about too often out there. You're worrying about your lap times, worrying about those marks you're going to hit, but you got to hit those marks in the pit lane as well. And that does, of course, mean the entry, the exit, and your box. And you have to get your fuel right as well. Jason Green now is going to jump into the pit using that strategy of his. We'll see how he gets out of this pit here, where he ends up. I think that's going to be a pretty smart one. Again, you can lose time simply by everybody pitting at once. And I think that's what kind of Jason Green is thinking right now. If you get caught in this pack of cars and everybody pits at the same time, well, the first guy's going to get a fairly good pit stop. Everybody behind him is going to be a little bit behind on their pit stop. So Jason Green could end up jumping a bunch of cars here just by doing that, as we're seeing the 73 have a little peak. Perhaps just intimidating Dirk Braun a little bit there. Not so much intimidation from the 337, though. Going to make that one work on the inside of the 201 there. So still lots to play for out there. We still have a little bit of time left here too, but now is when you're starting to get your eyes on that prize, thinking about your pit stop, as we're going to see some people, the 201 locking it up. That's going to be a good pit stop for him, as long as he didn't actually get a, and it doesn't look like he did get a penalty there. That's going to be a pretty quick pit entrance, and that's exactly what you want to see out there. Schramm now taking the lead of this race.
Yep, absolutely is. Schramm in the lead. Several cars in the pits, as we saw Jason Green a moment ago. Both the Gorsons in the pits came in together. We'll come back out together probably as Scott Russell, Phil Berry, and Brad Cathcart all in the pits as well. And we'll see where Jason Green is actually 4.5 seconds behind Al Shutwee. So that shows you what the undercut did for Al Shutwee, able to pull 4 seconds as he was in that lead group when he came into pit. So give advantage to Al Shutwee for the time being here, as we did see that Furia came back in for his drive-through penalty on this black flag, as Phil Berry now in, and I believe is that Phil Berry, Kane Lasky in the pits.
Yeah, Cathcart just out now as well.
Cathcart out as well. Bradshaw in the pits. Bradshaw Jr., in the pits, as we got a host of others coming in as well. Tom Gradwell in. But I was just kind of looking at, we did see Furia come in for his drive-through. Jeff Jacobson still with his meatball showing, as he is probably gone from the session. As he's, I think he figured out, he did tow. I think he figured out that the exit of the oval was blocked and there was no way through, so he had to tow it back to the pits. As now we've got Schramm and Braun. Simpkins, your top three. Al Shutwee now up to P4. 35 seconds or so behind the top three here, and we'll see who's coming in next. As no other takers, we got Phil Berry, Antonio Reese in the pits. Phil Berry with the black flag, so I'm guessing for incident points maybe, as he comes through again to serve his penalty. And he's actually stopping in the pit, so this will be his pit stop, and then he'll have to come back in to serve that black flag, as Lasky is back out running in fifth. Just ahead of Jason Green, but Al Shutwee still with that 4.5 second gap. So Al Shutwee, the undercut working a dream here for Al Shutwee, as he's looks to be like he's going to be in the prime position to take this victory today.
Yeah, it looks like he is in pretty good position there, just really keeping an eye on Jason Green, Kane Lasky here, and where exactly they are going to funnel out once we do get the full round of pit stops. Just looking back to our chat here again, Karkak saying, thanks so much for the amazing broadcast this season. He's not unfortunately able to watch them to the end sometimes, but also congratulating everybody on their victories. Nathaniel Schramm, Dirk Braun, as well as you Simpkins, and I believe that's Rich Meesters on the tail end there, all coming into the pit. Phil Berry in the distance there, also exiting pit lane now. He's clearing that black flag from himself. So now we'll be able to see here where exactly Jason Green and Kane Lasky are going to mesh into this group, and it does look like perhaps they've done fairly well on their pit stop strategies here, but we will not know until they actually come around here in the next few seconds. And keeping an eye on the bottom of your screen there, you can actually see our pit timings at the bottom and how long they're taking in the pit overall. So the number in the brackets is how long they were stopped for. The number that continues to tick down is line to line, or cone to cone, as they like to say. Nathaniel Schramm now coming out of the pit with Dirk Braun, Rich Meesters, and you Simpkins actually getting jumped by one of those drivers in there. And we're going to get a black flag for Dirk Braun. We're going to get a black flag for you Simpkins, and I'm going to imagine that is probably on pit exit. They probably went over the line a little early, maybe accidentally sped, but if I had to guess, it's going to be that they cut over the hard line coming out of the pit. And of course, like I said earlier, practicing those pit stops and having that discipline in pit lane before the race is very, very important. As now we're going to get on board here with Dirk Braun in the 52. Going to have a look at his exit here, so keep an eye on that dotted line on the outside here. And we are going to cross that line, unfortunately, by a lot, actually. So it looks like you can go out there, but you can't go out there. And that's something that you have to practice during the week so that you know that it's a little bit different than some other tracks. And unfortunately, Dirk Braun is going to lose out on that one. And that's a real bummer. Not only is he a fast driver and worked hard today to get where he was, but, you know, he's looking for some points out there as well. So that's a bit of a bummer. You Simpkins as well, I believe, has the championship locked up, but would have been really nice for him to finish well today, as we're seeing a car off the road there in the rhubarb. And I think that may have just been him, Todeschini, trying to get out of the way. We saw him earlier in the race have some unfortunate spin early on there. So he's doing the right thing. He went out into the rhubarb there and just got out of the way, as we're getting a bit of a reactive move from Kane Lasky up there. Not exactly what you want to see. And the 377, sorry, going to back out of that one for now, and that's probably a good decision.
Yeah, absolutely. As we did see, as you see, Simpkins coming down to take his penalty for that, and that's just it's one of those things that when you're not used to running a particular layout, you got to practice things like that. Otherwise, you don't know, and then you end up making a mistake by just crossing a line that you weren't supposed to there. As Simpkins and Dirk Braun both fell victim to that. And so now the question is, as we're on here for the final 8 minutes of this race, 2-second gap from Kane Lasky up to Nate Schramm, another 2.5 seconds or so up to Outsell Al-Shutwi. So the question is can this group of Kane Lasky and Jason Green, can they, as we see, that is Jeff Jacobson.
Spot.
He did find a nice spot to park and watch the remainder of this race as we're on board here now. Are these drivers, are we going to be able to get these drivers back together here? I'm not sure that's going to happen with with only 2 car packs here. You've got Schramm and you've got Antonio Reese giving him a push. You've got Lasky being pushed by Jason Green. A little further back, you've got Gorisons and the Gorison brothers a little bit further back working together. So this, as what usually happens, the pit stops have kind of shaken things up here. No longer the big pack. We've got just 2 car duos here working their way through, trying to work together and make up as much time as they can. They all want to try and get up to Al-Shutwi. Just don't know if there's going to be enough horsepower between those two and enough draft to get back in there. So they need another 1.2 seconds to get into draft range to get up to Al-Shutwi. But if anybody can do it, the combination of Schramm and Lasky can, is Murakami's back on the pits for another stop. So not having the best of days is Chris Murakami. Todeschini now with a black flag, as he is going to probably going to be for incident points. So he's going to have to come in and serve that as well. And that gap kind of staying around the 2.4 second mark. So Schramm and Lasky not able to generate enough effect working together to close that gap down. But if they manage to get that done, once again, you get back within a second and you're going to get that toe off the car in front and you'll be stuck back together again before you know it here. As you see that second group back there of Jason Green, who is just behind Kane Lasky. You see Reese and Schramm up there working together. Reese a lap down, so he's running down in P17. And he's just doing, he's running his pace, which has been up near the front, so he's able to stick with Schramm. I'm not sure if that's helping Schramm out or not, as once again, gap still 2.5 back to Lasky. It's another 2.3. Lasky and Green not able to do it, as you see the lap times come across pretty much a tenth of a second separating all those drivers, as they do have Rich Meesters in tow to maybe add another car into that effect, and maybe that will allow them to make up a little more time to the cars in front of them. But if those 5 get together, you may see some fireworks here in this final 5 minutes.
Yeah, I have a feeling that is correct. Charles, you are going to see it. Jason Green obviously jumping a few positions there, not necessarily solely because of that pit stop, though. We did have a couple black flags and a little bit of shenanigans while all that was going on. He is now pushing Kane Lasky trying to catch up to this this lead group here. And like you said, if they can work together, they definitely have the ability to catch up to Seoul and make a stab for that win at the end of this race. And it does look like they are trying, but of course up front there, you actually have sort of a maybe uncharacteristic friend. And Shuey's actually going to come in for a pit, and that, you know what, that's going to be from earlier, right, Charles? He did come in at the 11-minute mark, and that's just not going to leave him enough fuel to finish the race. Like I was kind of pontificating on a little bit earlier there. I don't think that he had the fuel to finish, and you know, it was a little strange that he was so far ahead after being out there. That you know, it does seem a little bit like a bit of a false tiger there for him to be out front at the moment. But that's unfortunately going to set him way back now. So that strategy not working out, not able to save that fuel, perhaps just in free air a little bit too long. It is now going to be down to Nathaniel Schramm, Kane Lasky, Jason Green. And again, like I was just about to say there, you have a bit of an uncharacteristic partner here in the 914, who's actually not really in this race with these people at all, but is pushing the 26 down the track to keep him where he's at. So we'll see. It's going to be the battle of the draft trains here and who can push and do it the most efficiently before the end of the race. And it looks like the 914 of Antonio Reese actually helping out the leader of this race. And he's going to have to get out of the way here at some point once they get close enough and leave Schramm to the Sharks here. And that does look like it's coming fairly soon. But for the moment, the 914 actually helping out front. 201 now looking up the inside of the 73. Not really going to make that one happen. Probably thought a little better of it, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so, and that's a home battle there between the Gorisons there, and they're just fighting amongst themselves at this point. Nice battle here between Jorg Monty and Brad Cathcart. All of a sudden, Jorg Monty leading the Masters class ahead of Brad Cathcart by about a half second or so. They're running P9 and P10 respectively, and so Al Shutwee, just to hammer on that topic a little bit more, he did come in very, very early, but he is only a 10.2 second stop. The rest of the front group, 11.7 for Schramm, basically 13.5 from Lasky, Green, and Gorson. So he just, not only did he pit early, he didn't take enough fuel. So he had to come back in. He was just going to run, and obviously running solo did not help that. Obviously, he's going to use more fuel than running in that big pack. So kind of a double whammy there for Al Shutwee. Unfortunate, had such a great run going. Thought he had everything worked out, and just unfortunately probably about a lap and a half too little fuel there on board. And so now we're watching this gap here between Nate Schramm and Kane Lasky. The gap is 2.1 seconds or so there as we're down to the last 2 laps of this race here as we come around. And just the gap is not closing quickly enough as Antonio Reese playing spoiler here, helping out Nate Schramm up front, and is just absolutely moving him down. You see the bump draft in effect there coming down the front straight. So he is absolutely helping Schramm out to take this victory. And I'm sure Antonio would rather be fighting for the win here as opposed to just helping out a colleague on the track. But unfortunately, Antonio just going to be a lap down here today from the earlier shenanigans, as you said. Here's a nice battle for P12. Dirk Braun, as we saw after his drive-through, is running down in 12th, has Simpkins and Burkett behind him. Another group here, this is Lasky and Green, Rich Meesters in tow for them, giving them a little bit of a boost, but not going to be quite enough. And this is going to be our white flag lap coming down. Nate Schramm leading 2.1 seconds over Kane Lasky, Jason Green in third. As did we get a white flag? I don't see a white flag. It should have been a white flag. That's very interesting there. So maybe we got a bonus lap. And if we do, who else is going to fall by the wayside here? As we come around, who else maybe was thinking we were going to be on 42 laps instead of 43? And so maybe a little bit of drama here as Nate Schramm works his way around the final. I'm sorry, the out of the junior cut through as works his way down the backstretch here. It still has Antonio Reese in tow, and you see the 3 cars behind there of Lasky, Green, and Rich Meesters, as we see now Green looking to the outside, going to try and make that move around the outside of Kane Lasky, and not sure if he's going to be able to carry that momentum or not. It does not appear, though, and check flag. So that was a white flag lap and Nate Schramm is going to take your race victory today to cap off a very, very good season. Fantastic season for Nate Schramm. He's going to get your win. Jason Green is going to nip Kane Lasky there at the very end by 300ths of a second to pick up P2. Kane Lasky will finish in third. Alexander Gorson, Marcel Gorson, fourth and fifth. So great run. Marcel Gorson getting the Spec 2 victory over Adam Bradshaw. So nice return from the Gorsons. Haven't seen them in a few weeks. Kuzma Lesnoy, good run, finishing in seventh, and haven't seen his name on the board in quite a while. And Jorg Monty is going to take your Masters class victory over Brad Cathcart and Chris Thorpe there. Your Masters podium separated, I should say, 8th, 9th, and 10th on the board. And Marcel Gorson, Adam Bradshaw Jr., the top two. And you Simpkins are going to pick up the final step on the podium for your Spec 2 class. So, Josh, great race today. Very, very hectic. Out on the track, a couple of incidents early kind of split up some of our front runners that weren't able to kind of hang in there, but overall great race, and then just tragedy as I see us lining up, and we're all headed down the oval.
Yeah, we're going to head down around the oval now, and just some honorable mentions there, and Jason Green out there getting a second place after being, fairly back in the field there. As well as Jorg Monty putting on an awesome run today and actually winning the Masters category. Would not have predicted that after the first few minutes of this race. We are going to see here, using the outside old Monza layout here of the outside the ring that's still there. You can see how old that pavement is and everything, and they're just going to smash each other and crash up the cars here for the end of the season. Jason Green now facing backwards. Oh, and there's a big one with, I believe that was you Simpkins, trees kind of blocking our view a little bit there. Unfortunately, the camera packs are not built to actually shoot the outer oval around the track, so we're doing kind of the best we can with the cameras that we have here. As you get a monster truck over top of his competitor there. Pretty funny stuff. Sort of a bit of a tradition we do around here with the Weekend Warriors, that slow motion broadcasting. We like to smash up the cars at the end of the race. It's just fun. So, some other leagues don't like that. They frown upon it, and that's fine, but we like to smash them up here in the Weekend Warriors and have a little bit of fun with it at the end. Let a bit of that steam off for sure. And just getting a bit of some stuff from our chat here as well. Tamara just saying, congrats to all the podiums out there. Nice finish to JG2. Michelle Lynn's out there as well, cheering everybody on. JG2 looks like he's out of fuel at the end, she says. So he definitely tried to push it to the end there. And some fuel strategy is just not working out today for some people, huh?
Yeah, well, absolutely not there, as we see. That was a very, very nice crab walk there by, I think that's you Simpkins. They missed the opportunity. There's a really good jump there on the old oval, about halfway down the straightaway, that you get some really good air. I think everybody just said, you know what, we're not going to make it, and I think just started tearing the cars up. But we'll just say hello to everybody in chat. Tam and Michelle, thanks for hanging in and listen to a couple of guys out here just trying to call a race. So we do appreciate that. As we're going to get our final results here, Nate Schramm, your race winner over Jason Green, and Kane Lasky finishing in third. Alexander Gorson finishes in fourth. Marcel Gorson was going to get your Spec 2 win, finishing in fifth, just ahead of Adam Bradshaw Jr. In sixth place. Kuzma Lesnoy finishing in seventh. Jorg Monty, the Masters class victory over Brad Cathcart and Chris Thorpe to round out your top 10. You Simpkins, as I said, final step on the Spec 2 podium. Marcus Burkett's going to finish in 12th. Dirk Braun in 13th. So Al Shutwee is going to finish down in P14. Scott Russell in 15th. Antonio Reese in 16th. Rich Meesters 17th. As we scroll up, Tom Gradwell 18th, Chris Murakami 19th, Andrew Love in 20th, Dennis Furia finishing in 21st, Philip Berry 22nd, Adam Bradshaw 23rd, Diego Tonoschini finishing in 24th, Jeff Jacobson in 25th. The initial launch of our oval today by Jeff Jacobson. 26th is going to be Patrick Hockey, who did not take the race start. And we do have a couple of guys in the waiting room for interview. So, Josh, I'm going to let you interview our race winner and our season 2 champion, that is Nate Schramm.
Yeah, pretty awesome stuff out there for sure. We'll get to some interviews here as quickly as we can. I'm getting a totally bugged out replay here, but I actually do have a screen share, so I'm going to look up over there and we'll get our our drivers in here. Charles, would you like to speak to someone first, or do I get the honors?
I was going to say I'll let you have our champion and our race winner, Nate Schramm.
Awesome! Right on. Sorry, I missed that there. I was distracted for a moment. So I'll pull Nate Schramm down here into the booth. We got all kinds of snacks in here for you, Nate. Nathaniel, what an awesome season you've put together here. Really just a clinic out there driving in qualifying as well as during the race. You got all kinds of pace out there. Awesome to see. You have your whole fan club here as well in the chat for the season. So it's been a pretty awesome run for you this season. Maybe you can tell us a little about it.
Yeah, third time's the charm, I guess. Just really tried to minimize mistakes and try to where I wasn't the fastest overall, just take advantage of any opportunities that I could, and it seems to have worked out this season. Extremely happy with how it's all gone. I'm amazed at the pace of everyone. It's been such a tough fight to get through. With everybody, we're all so close, and a track like this, the qualifying was incredibly close. So it really highlights the strength of this car in this league. So super happy.
Yeah, absolutely. A very unique car matched with a very unique league, I would say as well. And it really does work out. You got to have a pretty unique a class of drivers here to be able to drive these cars the way that they need to be driven and drafting, and just sort of having the respect of everybody around you and so on. Can take a few seasons to get into, but what an awesome final round. Pretty strange track, I'd say, for the last round, maybe for an SRF. Did you enjoy this one out there today? Is this a challenge that you enjoyed, or is it something you'd rather see in the rear view mirror?
This was good. It's super, super draft heavy, far more draft heavy than I think anywhere else that we've raced this season. But that really lended to strategy and fuel saving and trying to figure out, okay, if I pit here, then I get stuck. I think that's what happened with Sewell. He pit too early and just kind of fell out of a pack. Whereas I just kind of decided I'm going to just try to stay with the pack for as long as I can, get the fuel save, and hope that, when it comes time, we're not losing too much time to anybody else's pack. And it seemed to work out. So yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah, for sure. We were actually questioning here in the booth as well. So actually pitting at around the 11-minute mark, and just wondering in my own head if even if you filled your tank to full, if you'd make it to the end of the race with that much fuel in it. And it looks like perhaps either A, he just didn't put enough fuel in, or B, he put max fuel in and it just wasn't enough to make it to the end of the race. I know usually pitting at 11 minutes is about 5 minutes early for a pit in these to be able to make it to the end. But either way, unfortunately, had to take that second pit stop, and I'm going to drop him out of that one. Not able to make it. But Nathaniel, awesome run this season for sure. You're going to have to give us some setup tips, some practicing tips out there as to exactly how you're getting so quick. We might have to start a little series with you or something there and get some track guides or something for our next SRF season. But congratulations, my friend, out there. Some great driving, really very clean, respectful driving from you as well. And that's what we love to see here in the Weekend Warriors and on Slow Motion Broadcasting. So before we let you go here, man, I'll give you the floor and let you say your thank yous and anything else you'd like to say here.
Great. Yeah. It's been an awesome season. Definitely learned a lot. Biggest tip that I can have is just try not to overdrive the car. It's such a momentum-based car, so trying to minimize any slippage or anything like that, and just try to keep as much grip as possible. That seemed to be the key for me this season that I figured out, and that just seemed to really help with pace overall. I'd like to thank Slow Motion Broadcasting for all these awesome streams. Awesome to watch them back and see the support in the chat. Everybody's always so courteous and great inside. Awesome comments and stuff. So very happy to have you guys on board. I'd like to thank Stevie and the guys for putting on this league. This has been really my first league in iRacing, and I think it'll be extremely difficult to top this. So very happy here. Awesome job to all the drivers that are participating here week in, week out. Awesome to race with them, awesome to learn from them, and they're all just really cool guys and gals. Finally, I'd like to thank my team, Three Oceans Racing, and our sponsors, Turner Machine Development and Gauger & Sons Power Systems. awesome to have them on board. Looking forward to keeping them on board for the foreseeable future here. So yeah, just overall awesome season. Thank you so much.
Yeah, excellent. And we got to thank you as well here from Slow Motion Broadcasting and the community for stepping up and sponsoring a race in the season as well. We can't do it without drivers and viewers like you out there as well. So pretty awesome. We are going to be actually putting on a Sunday series here in the next 12 weeks after our 49th runoff, which is actually coming up on the 14th as well. Hopefully we'll see you out for that one. Going to be a pretty interesting race there as well. And then after that, we're actually going into sort of a new series, a bit of a break from our usual 3-round FV, FF, and SRF races, and we'll be putting one on Sunday. Will be joining us for those ones as well, Nathaniel. That's going to be a bit of a mix of cars and stuff by the looks of it for about the next 12 weeks until season 4.
Yeah, definitely. I'm signed up for the runoffs. Looking forward to that. And I think the runoffs should be a good transition into this new series that's coming up with the different variety of cars. I don't remember exactly which ones it is, if it's just the same ones that we've been rotating for the Weekend Warriors, or if the Miata got added in as well. But either way, looking forward to a different challenge with different cars. I'm really not an open wheel guy, so that's going to be totally a brand new experience for me, especially the racing. These SRFs, we can bang a bit on the sides, but those open wheels, that's probably going to be a recipe for disaster. So just kind of learn how those all work and get some time behind the wheel on those, and looking forward to it.
Awesome, Nathaniel. Right on. So we'll see you out there. We'll see you for the runoffs, and we'll see you for the next series as well, man. Take care and have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was Nathaniel Schramm. I believe, Charles, we do have a couple more drivers up there in Jorg Mani and Kane Lasky. Which one would you like to speak to?
Let's bring in our P3 finisher on the podium. Kane Lasky. We'll bring him in, have a quick chat with him. Kane, welcome in. Welcome back. It's been a minute since we've seen you, but back to good form, I see, with a third place there, just getting nipped by Jason Green at the end. But obviously, very draft-heavy track, and it was the patience game today, and did end up doing quite well.
Yeah. Hi, Charles. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. How's it going, Kane?
Good. Yeah, pretty happy. Of course, haven't done many laps in the SRF and kind of just jumped in because I did something different with my wheel settings this season, and I was driving mostly different cars with more horsepower, and I wanted to see how things felt in a car that I have a lot of laps in, this Spec Racer Ford. So, pretty good event considering I had 0 laps of practice at the start of practice, and I tried 3 different wheel settings before the race, and went with the third setting that I hadn't tried at all. And yeah, with this, burnt up a lot of energy in the race. The cars aren't really that fast, but you have to do a lot of thinking here because it's more of a tactical race, and that was one of the reasons that I jumped in. Nobody's getting away here, and if everybody plays nice, you're pretty sure to have some kind of last lap battle, and also be close throughout the race, and that's exactly how it was. And I had a lot of fun with Jason and Nathan and all the top boys. It was a great day.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic race. Did notice a few cars struggling a little bit in that kind of that junior sector there that cuts through, especially coming out back onto the backstretch. Did you notice anything like maybe the rear was just not really wanting to comply?
Absolutely. Like, I don't know if it's modeled in the sim, but oftentimes in the real world, these kind of alternate loops, they're very slippery. They have less grip than the actual asphalt. And that's another reason why it's tiring. Pretty much the only corner you're not at the very edge of traction is the parabolica. But, you're always pushing as deep as you can on the brakes to make sure you don't get past in the first turn. And you're on the edge of grip through all of those corners. And yeah, I was quite slow. I saw that Nathan was getting a better drive than me, and then finally when he went by, I followed him and I was able to pick up some time. But it's very difficult. You have to do a lot of different things at once, and if you make any mistake, you're going to be off the grip. and that's either going to compromise your drive or like you could crash there. So yeah, difficult spot.
Well, Kane, congratulations once again. Good to see you back on the grid, and we'll be seeing you for week 13 coming up next week, or maybe our summer season.
Are we having a runoffs week 13? So is that all three cars? Yeah, I probably will show up next weekend.
It's a little different, and if you go back and watch the end of the broadcast, we're going to talk about it here in just a minute, but a little different format this time, but this looks like it might be quite fun. So just check out the broadcast at the end, or just check the Discord. I'm sure you can find the information. So
I'll make sure it's posted for you there, Kane.
So Kane, we'll give you the final word and let you give any thanks or shout outs.
Yeah, thanks so much, you guys. It's always great. This is going to be a good one to watch back, so I appreciate you both, and thanks for Stevie for all the work that he does in the league, and thanks for all the guys here. So fun to race with, and super clean today, and great finish. So hope to see you all next week, and everybody have a great weekend. See you.
All right, Kane, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
That was Kane Lasky, our third place finisher. We got one more interview up there. Josh, our Masters class winner, Jorg Monty, is in the waiting room, ready to have a little talk with you.
Yeah, let's bring him down. Maybe we can both finish off asking Jorg a question or two here. Him being our final interview of this season. Jorg, it's great to have you back, man, and a pretty good comeback drive today. A little bit of an incident there at the beginning, but you're able to kind of put your eyes down on the track there and get your teeth around the bit and actually and make it back up to a Masters win. So maybe you can tell us how you made that one work.
Just closing my eyes and drive like my ass off.
That's nice. Right on.
No, I had sitting down, came back from a weekend, sit down, raced Formula 4, did not one single lap. Came back to Spec 4, did not one single lap, raced. I'm quite happy with that position. I thought I'm not even going to survive turn 1, lap 1. It almost cut me on lap 2 actually, so I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with that.
Excellent. Yeah, today throwing up a bit of a different challenge maybe than we're used to in SRF. Something I usually kind of relish to jump into. There's a bit split the community tracks like this because they can seem a little bit silly maybe sometimes, but it's something I like to say, just embrace the race and get out there and do the best that you possibly can. And that's what you did today. And you made a really good comeback drive, even after some kind of bad luck in the beginning there. So we are putting on a runoffs here coming up soon. I believe on the 14th. It's going to have a pretty interesting layout. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to check that flyer out yet. We will be talking about it at the end of this broadcast. But are you going to be joining us for the 49th runoffs, as well as our new season coming up there, where we're going to be driving some new machinery on Sundays?
Most likely I will. And I choose the F4 and the Spec 4.
Very nice. Very nice. Cool. Well, we will see you out there. You are gonna, and of course for our new series as well, is gonna be a pretty interesting one on Sundays. We'll be taking a little break from our usual SRF shows and doing a bit of a mix up, different machinery and stuff like that on a Sunday as well. So it's going to be pretty cool to see you out there. Before I let you go though, Jorg, I'd like to give you the floor here and just allow you to say thanks or anything you'd like to say here to wrap up our season.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize that I could not attend that many times actually on the races, but my workload is extremely high at the moment, and it still will continue even during the summer, and I will not be able to attend all of the races again, but if I can, I will. And so I wish everybody else luck. It was a great season, a lot of fun as usual, and I'm doing that since many years now, and I'm still very happy to do it. And sometimes I get angry like everybody, but the next day everything is gone again, so always good, and it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I can parrot those. I also, you get the bit between your, when you get competitive out there, that's what it's about. And if you're a competitor, you're going to get frustrated every once in a while. That's the beauty of this league, really, and those who are in it, is that, we talk about stuff, and even when you do get a little bit flared up, you can come back and shake hands, have a beer, and keep moving on. And that's a really awesome thing about this league here. So we love having you around, Jorg, when you are. It's always a pleasure to have you in the booth and on the track. So hopefully we can have you as much as possible here in our upcoming season and for our special events and so on. But on that note, I think we'll let you go, my man. Have a good one, and thanks for showing up today. Great Masters class win.
Thanks a lot, guys, and I wish you, all of you, a good night.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jorg. That was Jorg Manny. That's almost going to wrap us up here, Charles. So I think I'll give you the floor here, and you can kind of bring us out, maybe tell us about some upcoming stuff, and then, yeah.
Okay, we've got our final championship points. So let's bring those up by all means. Let's get those before we get into the what's coming up here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. There's your final results for Spec 1. Nate Schramm over Jason Green. Dirk Braun gets the final step on the podium. So congrats to those three guys as we'll move over to our Spec 2. And we'll give you our podium finishers there as well. And it is Hugh Simpkins, Phil Berry, and Paul Jackson getting your top three. Dennis Furia, not good run, just not quite enough, just missing it by 7 points. Jeff Jacobson missing it by 10. As we get to our Masters, Antonio Reese, far and away your Masters champion this season, followed by Tom Gradwell and Rich Meesters over Chris Thorpe, and very, very close there, 6 point gap between those two. So congrats to our champions here in the Spec Racer Ford Season 2. And so we've got to wrap up a few things, but let's talk about do we have our V runoffs? We do indeed, and you'll see it on your screen there. It's a little bit of it's the inverted speed challenge as Stevie has named it. So you get two cars for the first race. You can either pick the F4 or the Formula V. And then in the second race, you go from either fast to slow or slow to fast, and you go from the F4 to the SRF or the Formula V to the radical SR8. And this is going to make for some great racing. Obviously, multi-class battles on these two races. Absolutely one of those that you want to get involved with. So that will be coming next week. So we'll have that here for you on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And just settle in and watch it, as that's a Father's Day spectacular there here in the States. I believe it's Father's Day. No, it maybe not. Maybe it's the 20th. I don't know. I'm a dad. I don't even remember when it is. So we'll go to our other coming events here. I think we might have that graphic as well. We have none. This is the end of the season for everybody. So we will have some upcoming races coming up. I'm sure as the seasons roll over, we'll get our normal compatriots back on. Obviously, the summer season for the Weekend Warriors is going to be a little bit different, round robin type scenario involving all three of our cars, maybe with the MX-5 as well. And I apologize to all the Europeans who were watching the broadcast when they called it the Miata. And I know how you guys get upset about stuff like that. So we'll call it the MX-5 for the time being. So, Josh, only the French apparently. I take that. I was like, there's some British guys who don't appreciate it either. So as we wrap this up, Josh, final thoughts here on the season.
Yeah, what an awesome season. I was out there for a good portion of it, and this group of drivers and this series is just so much fun, as we're hearing, from the other drivers out there. And we do have a lot of stuff coming up here, as we mentioned. Some new leagues coming in this season. AMS will be making a return. XSL will be making. We have a pretty full schedule coming up really soon here. Actually, SMB is very busy over the summer, and Weekend Warriors are still going to be a part of that on Sundays as well. Just some honorable mentions out there. Phil Berry doing really well this season to bring himself up to a podium. Dirk Braun up to a podium as well. And I just want to give a good thanks to all, or congratulations to all the winners out there this season as well. You Simpkins and Nathaniel Schramm. Everybody out there who did so well. You can't do it without you. The competition in this series is just so much fun, and it's easy to get up in your head and get a little bit angry sometimes, but it's always good to come back and get on track and race with these guys. And I'm looking forward to it again once we do finish this break and get back to the SRF. So I'd like to thank you guys as well, for being up in the booth, and of course for allowing me to jump in for him on these last few rounds. and have some fun with the SRFs as well. So I think just wrapping up, just like to thank everybody for everything. Basically, you guys are the best, and we can't do it without you. Stevie Ray, all the admins, just an amazing amount of work that goes in behind the scenes here to make this work and to put these shows on and have fun on track. So just got to thank all of you guys here in the booth and outside of it that do all the work that makes this possible, man. So thanks, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll echo all those sentiments. It's been great up here in the booth this season with both Ron and Josh, and as always, Guido. Thanks to Spec, to the Weekend Warriors, the Ray Esports, Stevie Ray, his group of admins, who I'll forget somebody, but Aaron that calculates the points, JG2, Jason Green, Michelle Lynn, who's been in the chat, Jim Brewster as well. Just doing work. Hope Jim's recovering well from his surgery, and I'm sure we'll see him on the track as soon as he's able to do so. And that's going to wrap things up. He got a podium yesterday. He's already back on the track. Man, that's tough. That is
he did.
tough.
Yes, he did. In the V's
That is
yesterday.
awesome.
Yeah, he was faster than before. I think they fixed him up maybe a little bit.
Oh wow, so he's bionic now. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody as well. Once again, thanks to Josh Wilkie and Guido Marzucchi. I'm Charles Boshell. Thanks to everybody out there, the Schrammers as well. I can't leave those guys out. We love having guys in the chat, people in the chat to come in and watch the races and comment about their favorite drivers. So they just adds more to it. And once again, thank you very much. Drive safely. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next week for the V runoffs. And hey, send it in turn one.